Hello mate, how you doing? This is an unscripted video. If you've never met me before, you will not like this video, so please feel free to leave and go somewhere else because I'm not scripting this and I'm not maximizing for attention and I'm not maximizing for retention. If you know me already, if you're one of my people who've already come to me through previous videos and you're invested in what I'm doing and we've met before, you are going to love this because today I'm diving deep and I'm giving you guys an incredibly practical and actionable roadmap. If you are a people pleaser, if you're a nice guy, if you are needy towards women, if you seek validation towards women, if you're single and you've never had a relationship or you're chronically single and you want to fix it, this will help you. If you're in a marriage or if you're partnered with a woman, but you're not showing up as the man you know you could be, as confident, unapologetic, as much of a leader as you would like to be and as she would like you to be, if you have social anxiety and you just struggle with confidence around people in general, this is going to help you. Because this full framework is essentially what I've done lately is I've condensed down the work that I've done with men over the past few years. And I've recently taken sort of the 5 or 6 clients who really achieved a crazy transformation, and I distilled down what actually worked, what was the process roughly. And I saw a common thing across all of them. And it's this framework that I want to share with you today. But first, let's talk a little bit about the problem. You're a nice guy, and let's start with the surface level because there's layers to this, okay? On the surface, you're noticing that you're anxious around women or around the woman in your life. You're noticing that you're not authentic, you're not sharing what you really feel. Maybe you go into a kind of fight, flight, or freeze response when you're around women for some reason. Maybe you've actually experienced the women in your life expressing their dissatisfaction with you, either overtly, by maybe you're lucky enough that they calmly express that they want to see more, less passivity from you and more sort of leadership or confidence or whatever. Or maybe you're noticing that you're finding that your patterns of relationships over the long term have been negative in the sense that relationships end up being not healthy, not fulfilling, not authentic. They lead to conflict. Maybe the women in your life end up expressing dissatisfaction or freaking out over you, or she ends up being crazy on you or shit testing you or whatever the case is, right? Overall, you're just not having healthy relationships. So let's say that's one half of the coin where some of you men out there have been in relationships and you're fairly experienced in relationships in that way. But I know that there are some guys in my audience who struggle in relationships even getting into a relationship. I know that there's some men, even in their 30s and 40s, who've never been in a relationship before and they want to fix it. But fundamentally, the thing I'm talking about here, the concept that underlines both single men and partnered men, is this idea of relational confidence, like relationship confidence. It's not just confidence socially, because that's kind of one branch. That's like with your friends and strangers, and social confidence at work. What we're talking about here is relationship confidence. Okay, it's confidence with women more specifically. So on the surface, if we go back to the depth thing, on the surface you're noticing that you're not as confident in relationships in general, intimate relationships with women. Now, this could also be, if you're single, this could also be on dates, etc. So we've kind of, in a very sort of slapdash, messy way, mapped out the surface level problem. But let's go a level deeper. Why is that? Why are you struggling with relationship confidence pretty consistently? If we go a level deeper, then what we basically uncover here is a pattern of inauthenticity, okay? Relationship confidence is a problem. You have relationship anxiety. Why is that? It's because on some level you're playing a role. You're not being fully authentic. Okay? That's fundamentally the problem. If you were fully integrated, aligned, and authentic with everyone you meet, not just women, but anyone you meet, and in relationships and in your intimate life, you would not struggle with confidence. You wouldn't. You wouldn't struggle expressing your needs. You wouldn't struggle flirting. You wouldn't struggle expressing desirability for her. You wouldn't struggle sexually in the bedroom. But the problem is you've adopted over the course of your life a persona that's like a nice guy, a pleaser, a passive kind of guy who's trying to be nice, he's not trying to upset anybody, and is not trying to hurt anyone. And trust me when I say, man, I don't want to go heavy with the tough love. You're doing this for the right intentions, right? You're not a bad person. You're not broken. And how do I know that? I know that you're not broken because you're not happy about it. You're trying to be a good person and you're not an asshole. And the biggest problem you've had is that you've not, if anything, been enough of an asshole. Do you understand? So there's the difference between being passive and being aggressive. That's like, if you think of this as a spectrum, passive over here and aggressive over here. Aggressive would be super selfish assholes. And passive would be super pleasy nice guys. The problem is you've been too far over here and not enough over there. So what we need to do is rebalance it and get you right in the middle. Okay? So why? So we've looked at the top, relationship confidence problems. Now if we go a level deeper, we've identified that you've been inauthentic and you're basically wearing what I call the nice guy mask. You're wearing the nice guy pleaser mask. And what problems does that create? Before we move on to the core reason why you're wearing this mask, if we hover for a moment on why, like what problems does the nice guy mask actually create? So you're wearing a nice guy mask. It creates a number of problems, and I'll dive into just a couple of them here. One of them is you are not experiencing true intimacy. Because the nice guy mask, you wear it to avoid being vulnerable with the women in your life. Okay? You wear that mask to avoid her seeing something that you think she won't like and she'll run away. The problem with that is, without vulnerability, intimacy cannot exist. You understand? Intimacy into me see. But the mask, let's say you're wearing a mask and you're even wearing goggles. You're basically covered in armor. You're like a knight. If we think about medieval times, you're like a knight covered in armor. You don't know who's behind it. It could be anyone behind it. So that's one of the things. You don't feel true intimacy. You never feel true connection with the person that you're in a relationship with. But let's think about if you're single. For some of my guys out there who are struggling to get a date or get relationships or struggling with long-term relationships. And I'll give you an example. I was talking to one guy the other day who booked a call with me, which you can do. Click in the link below, by the way. He booked a call with me and we were discussing his pattern of going to shit tons of singles events. This guy had been to about 20 singles events in the past 18 months and he hadn't got a date from a single one. And we identified a few things. We identified that he was fundamentally friend-zoning himself. And why? Because here's one of the things that the nice guy mask does. If you're the nice guy, that basically means that you're trying to not hurt anyone. You're trying to be safe, harmless, and hide not just your anger, right, but also your sexuality. And that's why men who struggle with wearing that nice guy mask on first dates end up cutting off their own sexuality in very deep unconscious ways. And the women that they go on dates with notice that. She doesn't feel that pull of desirability in her body because he is presenting himself. The only way he feels comfortable presenting himself is as a friend, because that fits the nice guy mask he's wearing. I'm nice, I'm harmless. Don't worry about me. So then he ends up friend zoning himself and he struggles to find consistent dating opportunities. He is not getting picked by women. Is it because he's physically unattractive? 9 times out of 10, no, that's not the case. Is it because he's not earning enough money, or he's not tall enough, or enough, just something, insert whatever, I've heard them all. No, that's not the reason. Most of the time it's not the reason. It's because he's not presenting himself as a desirable option sexually. Why are we going on dates? Sex is a big part of it. But nice guys, they wear the mask because they feel ashamed of their sexuality. But we're going to get to the core reason for the mask. But those are two problems right there. Friend zoning yourself, and if you're in a relationship, you don't experience true intimacy. But there's a third problem with wearing the nice guy mask. I mean, there's about 20 problems, but I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to go into it. It's not a full presentation. But the third problem is fundamentally this man often lacks a sense of direction in his life. He lacks goals, a sense of desires that he actually wants to achieve in his life. He's cut off from his own needs, his own perspectives. He's cut off from his own internal GPS system, as I call it, that would guide him through life. A lot of women express that a man who is too nice, she struggles to find him attractive because he lacks a kind of fire that she finds attractive. He lacks a kind of life force energy. He's like a deflated balloon, right? He's kind of shuffling around, existing, and the man's suffering. Poor guy, right? He's suffering. And he's just surviving. He's just trying to do what he's been told he should do and be who he was told he should be his entire life, but it's not working out. But he's not living his own life. He's living someone else's. And how the hell can he be enthusiastic about that, fundamentally? So those are three problems there. Well, that's one layer. The second layer is the nice guy sort of defense mechanism, the nice guy mask. What causes the nice guy mask? What causes the nice guy mask is fundamentally, mate, there's one core reason for it. Why would you wear a mask instead of being authentically you? Why would you? Well, you would wear a mask because you fundamentally believe on some level that what lies behind the mask is broken. And if you took the mask off, this is the belief, this is the thought, if you took the mask off, bad things would happen all around you. People would leave you, people would abandon you, people would reject you, people would humiliate you, people would embarrass you. But it's because you started wearing the mask way earlier in life, mate, didn't you? Maybe you were bullied in school. And little version of you, the little kid that you once was, learned or got the message from his environment that, oh God, I guess I'm not, I need to fit in. There's something wrong with me. I need to fit in. I need to wear this mask now. Maybe at a young age, you were punished unfairly by your parents for things that are very true to you. I was punished for my love for martial arts, basically. I loved martial arts and Bruce Lee. I loved grappling kids at school. My parents told me I was bad for it. So I suppressed my anger and I suppressed that part of me for a very long time. That's what created my nice guy syndrome. So fundamentally, mate, if we can put it into a single word, this is what lies at the core. Shame. Shame, shame, shame. You feel broken. Fundamentally, you feel broken about who you really are. So you adopt the nice guy mask, which makes you inauthentic, out of integrity, and ruins your relationship confidence. Because when you wear that mask, you cannot be confident, not deeply. You can fake it, like all the pickup artists and the dating coaches will try and make you do. Use all these lines, memorize all these scripts, wear the mask. But that's not real confidence, is it? Because you're always still afraid that when she looks behind the mask, she's going to run away and abandon you. So that's what gives you the anxiety, right? So we've just outlined the whole reason, the deep reasons, every single layer of why you struggle with relationships. We've outlined all of it, mate. Shame is at the root. Nice guy is a defense mechanism. People pleasing and anxiety is a defense mechanism. You wear a mask because of the shame. And that mask creates the relationship anxiety that sabotages your relationships, keeps you single, makes you inauthentic in relationships with your wife or your girlfriend. It makes you feel you are not as respected as you could be in your relationship. You're not the man who women desire and admire, fundamentally, because you're not a leader, because you're not leading yourself, and you're at war with yourself. And being that pleaser means you're just following everyone else. And the sad truth is people don't respect people like that, which is a shame, right? In an ideal world, everyone would just respect everybody regardless, but human beings have a nature. We have a nature. And that's part of it, it seems. So, if you've been watching for this long, mate, I commend you. And if you've been watching for this long, it means that you are one of my people. Because, fucking hell, I've not scripted this and this is obvious. But mate, how do you fix it? Let's get around to the practical solutions. I don't just want to talk about the deep stuff. I want to ground it in real stuff, okay, real world stuff. So we need a solution that tackles every single layer, that heals the shame, that reveals the mask, and challenges you to step out beyond your comfort zone so that you can start showing up in an entirely different way. Well, mate, I have outlined a framework that I'm going to tell you about in a moment called the 4A framework. And let me just run through it, but I just want to say that this is the framework that I take clients through. If you sign up and work with me, we will go through this framework and apply it to your life. And I promise you right now, mate, if you apply this framework to your life, you will not be the same man at the end of it than you were at the beginning. That's a fucking guarantee. Pardon my French, but that's a guarantee. Yeah? And you'll see why in just a second. So, it's 4 phases, and each phase builds on the next. So you go phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and they go in chronological order because each phase prepares you for the next one. Understand? Okay. So what do the 4 A's stand for? The first A stands for awareness. With phase 1, one of the biggest problems that a lot of nice guys have is that they don't have enough information about why they are the way they are, which makes their inner critic very, very loud, doesn't it? Have you ever had that feeling, mate? I'm just broken. There's something wrong with me. I'm just broken. I feel deeply ashamed about myself. I'm a broken... What's wrong with me? Have you ever had phases of your life where you were saying that to yourself? Because I have. And the reason for that is when the mind doesn't have the full picture, it will fill in the gaps with very negative information. Have you noticed that? It never fills it with positive information. So you have a way of being in the world that's not working in your relationships. You don't know why. You've not connected the dots. You don't know enough about your life yet. You've not been able to find the insights and gain the awareness as to why your people-pleasing, nice guy habits are a thing. So what happens? Your mind gets busy and says, I'm broken. So then your inner critic gets very loud and it sabotages everything that you're doing. And next thing you know, you're just this ball of self-hatred, shame and anxiety. Well, that's why phase 1 exists, because what we do is you have to become aware of your conditioning. Your conditioning is basically what early childhood experiences did you have that taught you to be this way? What relationship experiences did you have that taught you to be this way? How did your father treat you? How did your mother treat you? What role did you play in the family? What emotions were you told were okay and were not okay? What is your good boy list? I'm a good boy when? I'm a good boy when? Finish the sentence. I'm only a good boy when I do this. I'm only a good boy when I do that. What's your bad boy list? I'm a bad boy if I do this. I'm a bad boy if I get angry. I'm a bad boy if I have strong feelings, etc. Once you understand your conditioning, you can stop hating yourself so much. You have a clearer picture of who you are and why you are the way you are. No change can happen without awareness. 0. Okay? So that's phase 1 is awareness. What's phase 2? Phase 2, brother, and it has to come after phase 1, is acceptance. Flat out, straight up acceptance. With all the material that you gather in phase 1, you now have to work on accepting every part of you. Not just the parts that fit the good boy list, but the parts that fit the bad boy list as well. Your anger, your sexual desires, no matter how depraved the things in your life that you've not forgiven yourself for, that you're still carrying, that still make you wear the mask, all the shame, all the guilt, all the mucky stuff that's in your shadow, the part of your mind that you're not usually aware of. We bring it to the surface in phase 1, and then we work on accepting it in phase 2. Self-compassion meditations are very good for this. Doing shadow work, journaling is fantastic for this. Writing letters to and from the younger part of yourself in your mind. Doing a kind of exercise called mirror work, where you're looking in the mirror at yourself and you're saying beautiful things to yourself. If that's uncomfortable or that feels woo-woo, that's a bigger sign that you need to do it. And just becoming a better friend to yourself heals the inner war within that ruins your confidence from without, if that makes sense. So that's phase 2. Awareness, acceptance. Phase 3 is authenticity. What we now need to do in phase 3 is we need to become aware of the mask. Okay? We need to become aware of the mask. What does it feel like when you wear the mask? In what way does the mask differ from who you really are? Okay? Because sometimes a guy will come to me and he doesn't know who he really is. Because he's been wearing the nice guy mask for so long that he doesn't even know who the fuck he is anymore. Phase 3 is authenticity. That's becoming aware of your values, becoming aware of your interest, becoming aware of your real opinions, becoming aware of what your core essential identity is, rather than this social mask that you've been wearing. And we become aware of, and I give clients like a full week of an exercise that they need to run through, where they become aware of all the things that they do in their day-to-day that's inauthentic. It's called the Authenticity Journal. So phase 3 is becoming fully authentic and becoming aware of who you really are. Because this then gives you the roadmap for phase 4. But by the end of phase 3, you've built a strong core, grounded identity. You've essentially become a follower. You've essentially become a leader rather than a follower. You will be, by the end of this phase, a kind of man grounded in his own identity and values and direction in life. You'll even set goals for your life that align with who you really are, and suddenly you'll find that people start following you. People start asking for your opinion. People start naturally just hitting you up, wanting to hang out. This is when, it sounds really weird, but when a man starts to carry himself with this kind of energy of someone that doesn't need anyone's approval or whatever, it starts to radically change his relationships and the way people react to him and respond to him. Women start looking at him more. I'm not making this up, man. I promise you. This is from clients that have told me this. Men's body language starts to change, even without us focusing on it. It's amazing what can happen. But by this point, you've already experienced shitloads of change, but there's still one final phase that really will put the rubber will hit the road and it will kind of close it off. So phase 4 is action. Now what we then do is, now that we have got an awareness of your conditioning and why you are the way you are, now that we have accepted all the parts of yourself that you try to hide from the world by wearing a mask, now that we've also become aware in phase 3 of what the mask is and challenge you to start taking it off and figured out what that looks like, phase 4 is about action. So what we do is you can create a list of all the activities that scare you. It's called the fear ladder, right? So let's say, for example, you want to start approaching more women, or you want to start flirting more intensely on first dates or whatever, or with your wife. Saying a sexual joke or an innuendo, or telling your wife or whatever that you want to do this and that to her or whatever, or you want to say something cheeky or flirty or sexual on a date. That might be at the top of the ladder. And that means the top of the ladder is, it gives you the most anxiety to do. But then what we do is we work backwards to eventually find an activity or an action that's less anxiety inducing, but it's like one more step on the ladder. It's eventually going to take you there, but you're not going to try and get from here to there in one go. You're just going to kind of walk your way up. Does that make sense? So that was the 4A framework in a nutshell. And I want to just say, man, that I'm going to dive into unpacking all of this. Like in the next sort of 10, 20 videos I'm going to upload, each video will specifically dive in and unpack some aspect of this, okay? I mean, obviously you can follow it from step 1 to step 4, but I'm basically all the topics I'm going to talk about are here to help you become way more confident, grounded, independent, emotionally self-reliant, so you're not so needy, validation seeking, nice guy, people pleaser, so you're just a more well-rounded and more confident, grounded, magnetic person. And that's the next 20 videos, man. I'm going to dive into videos and topics on each of the pillars. Every single video will tie back to this 4A framework, and you're going to be able to understand more deeply how to apply it to your own life. But man, I just want to invite you to do something. If you have seen this video, and you've probably got tons of questions about how do I actually apply this framework to my life, Oliver, you've not been very practical, but it's only one video, mate, okay? So it's hard for me to dive into the practicalities of each phase. But if you're resonating with this, if you've watched the whole feckin' video by now and you've dived into all of this and you think, shit, this is actually, I can really apply this to my life and Oliver makes sense, then mate, let me make a powerful invitation to you. I'm going to invite you to get on a call with me and we can discuss how working with me looks. Jump on a call with me and we'll have a conversation about it. No pressure. I'm not going to make you try and pressure you with any high pressure sales tactics or anything. That's not how I do things. But I want to talk to you about your situation. If you're struggling with relationship confidence and you are genuinely struggling with this and you've tried therapy, you've tried a bunch of other stuff, then mate, get on a call. Jump on a call with me. Let's have a conversation about it. And if you feel genuinely throughout the whole conversation, if you feel like, shit, this is resonating with me and I'm feeling that Oliver can help me, then let's have a conversation about what that actually would look like. I'm flexible as well, man. I'm not just physically, but I'm flexible. We can figure something out that works for you. All right. So that's it for me today, man. I appreciate you deeply from the bottom of my heart. I recently went through a little bit of a mini dark night of the soul, and I kind of came back and I realized what I'm here to do, which is to fundamentally help men have a great relationship with themselves so they can have a great relationship with other people. Simple as that, right? Anyway, I'm going to stop because I'll go on for too long. I appreciate you, man. Deeply, I appreciate you. Please click the like and leave a comment down below, man. Let's get a conversation going. I'm eager to hear how this affected you. Yeah. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, mate? Peace.